Okay, everyone, I'm super excited for our first session of HomeAV Day. I have two really awesome guys to come and talk to me. So, first one, Michael Braithwaite and Tim Marshall of Modern Atomics. How's it going, you guys?
Terrific.
Fantastic out here. Loving the day so far. Excited
Love
to be
this.
here, though, let me tell you.
I'm excited to have you guys. So, first of all, we kind of got to know I got to know you guys a little bit at CEDIA Expo in September. You actually talked to Gary Kay and kind of showed him a little bit of the products that you guys have. So, for those watching, do you first want to give us just a little bit of background on Modern Atomics and who you guys are?
Absolutely. So we're a brand new company. We started in January of this year, and we at CEDIA was kind of our first coming out party where we showed the product and really got some good feedback. Really a lot of excitement from the dealers, and it's we're based in Austin, Texas, and we build all the products in Austin, in Texas, and so we're happy and ready to work with everybody out there that does any kind of right now any kind of shade type projects. We do more than just shade stuff, but the first products, our initial launch, are on shade items.
Very cool. So, do you want to? The product that we're focusing on today in this session is the Reaktor. So, do you want to give the people watching a quick overview of Reaktor and what makes it different from other power distribution units in the home AV space?
Absolutely. So Reaktor is a shade focused PDU. So it has 22 motor ports and it has 6 device ports. The one thing you will notice about it is there is no power. Like the one thing that we usually get is people look at the back and they're looking for the AC cord, and they're like, there is no AC on this unit. And so the unit itself has an energy storage module, and we'll be talking more about that over the next few questions here.
Very cool. So it has an ultra high density design that, as clearly, it's very small. It saves up to 80% on like rack or wall space. How might that benefit the CIs and homeowners out there for like practicality in their installations?
So, most competitive units have large wall-mounted enclosures, where Reaktor's a tiny 1.75 by 8-inch half rack unit. And with the many mounting holes on the side and bottom of the unit, it can actually be mounted in several different ways using the rack ears and/or DIN rails for a rack install, a wall, ceiling, or even a tabletop installation. But the real magic here, though, is in the ESM, which has an extra large capacity that can support up to 72 newton meters simultaneously. This means that we can actually support between 22 to 36 shades per unit versus the normal 8 to 10 on most other models, with a lot less infrastructure, taking up less wall space and rack space, reducing install costs. So very nice little package with a lot of output.
Another one of the big features, and one that I personally like to learn about, is the ability to eliminate 99.75%, I think, of the quiescent current. Am I saying that right? That is a current that I read. That is not a current I've ever said in motorized shading systems. So why is that so critical for AV setups, and how does that impact energy efficiency in the home?
Absolutely. The operational quiescent current is, by definition, basically there's electricity there, but there's no load going on. And so for the average shade project, because we eliminate that current, it changes the energy consumption profile quite a bit. Let me ask you this. How many times a day does someone use a motorized shade? So what would
I
you
would
say?
I would guess probably like 4 times a day.
Okay, 4 times a day. That's right on the average. We ask this all over and at trade shows, and this is the same answer we get. Next question is how long does it take from a shade to get from the upper limit like to the lower limit? What do you think the average is?
30 seconds to a minute.
That's right in the average there. Now, it depends on how big the shade is, what the RPM level is of all that. So let's do some basic math. Okay, you said 4 times and 30
Mhm.
seconds on each one of those. That's two
Right.
minutes. What is
Mhm.
the big power supplies and the motors doing for 23 hours and 58 minutes of every day of every year? So because we get rid of this operational quiescent current, we save the average shade project 412 kilowatt hours annually just by being plugged in. And we're not even talking yet about that. We've eliminated the AC part of it because we have options that are totally green where I can connect a solar panel up to this. So there's no grid power ever, no power. There's one other big benefit to that. So if you had a motor, like a shade motor,
Mhm.
inside the motor, inside there, you might see some silver. Those are electrolytic capacitors. Those are inside of a metal tube. Next to those, there's a power regulator and an inductor in there. As soon as you apply power to this motor, that power regulator heats up and it kind of generates heat off of it, just as nature of how it works.
Yeah.
However, because you're in a metal tube, there's nowhere for that heat to go.
Right.
So what fails in a lot of these motors is in the electrolytic caps, they dry out. And every 10 degrees difference in temperature is either a doubling or halving of the capacitor life. So because we remove the power from this for 99% of the day, that means there's no heat being generated. That means the caps are not drying out. And that means we will double the life of all of the shade motors just by you using this power supply.
That's awesome. So, in terms of the reactor's user interface, how does the programming of the interface also improve user experience?
The automated programming functions are really nice in the fact that they give the installers the ability to test the motors and wiring while they're on site. Doesn't require any other tools. Uh, it gives them just also some basic functions for programming of, say, remotes, wall switches, or keypads with a few simple button presses. Great feature. This also removes the need for any software downloads, laptops, phones while you're on site, just kind of making everything easier. And also, all the tools that I have all the tools that I need just using Reaktor to complete the job. I can verify that the system works before I leave. Also, one of my favorite little functions here is on the back of the unit. I've got a nice little cheat sheet, shows all my wiring pinouts, my programming functions, my LED status and what they mean. Everything that you would need on site is on the back of that unit. There's also
That's
a
awesome.
QR code on there as well if you wanted to download the entire manual. But it is nice that it keeps it very simple.
That's awesome. So another product that you guys have coming out very soon is the Collider. So that's exciting. I'm super stoked for you guys to start shipping that one as well. So what can you tell me about its capability to power up to 24 motors without any AC connections, and what type of AV environment would benefit the most from this?
So much like what we just went over with Reaktor, it has an ESM inside, just like Reaktor does. There is still no power, so there's still no AC connection. These are 24 PoE ports. They can do the full 90 watts per port. There is no fans. Okay. This is a platinum rated unit. And so, to be honest, this can be mounted anywhere, even though it's rack ears, like you can join two of them together, do one RU or a half rack. But these are symmetrical. Tim was talking about a little bit that you
Yeah.
can turn these any ways you want. There's also 4 that are on the back. And so you can mount this up in a drop ceiling and have your shades connected to it. And again, there is no AC power. That means there's no electricians. That means there's no Romex. That means
Right.
there's no conduit. So that's a huge amount of savings just right there. And on the commercial side, I know this is a residential day, and resi guys are going to love Collider a lot, but I'll tell you on the commercial side, the commercial guys will be using this left and right. So
That's awesome. So, with both of these products, energy efficiency is clearly a big deal to you guys. Like, this is like the reason that you did this. This is the reason you formed the company. So, how do you see these innovations shaping the future of home AV and even pro AV, like power management and environmental impact?
absolutely. So I heard you mentioned that Save AV was one of the sponsors, and we love them. Um, we're actually on two different committees on the Save AV. We're on what's called the Second Life, which is where when someone does a refresh, like in a corporate boardroom or something, they're refreshing their equipment. Most of that equipment still works and is operational. And so in the Second Life, there's organizations that don't have the budgets, don't have the money that can use a lot of this AV gear, and that's the whole that whole committee and their effort on that is to finding how these other organizations, and instead of throwing the product in a landfill. Let's put it back into use and get others who don't have the same kinds of budgets to use that. Excuse me. Now, the other committee we're on one called the Audio Video Design Committee. We're really excited about this one because in that committee, where we're really talking about is sustainability from the ground up, from when the product is designed all the way till the end of life, how you would return it, so to speak, meaning after second and third lives, eventually how it's either broken down and reused again. And so that's really important to us. So important that we've started the build like that. There are no conflict minerals of any kind. There's no cobalt. There's no even though we have a lot of advanced technology in this with the SM, we still are focused on that quite a bit. But the one area that we don't hear as much, and we are encouraged because we think there's a global mega trends that all corporations, all corporate citizens are going to have to look at. And as an AV industry, this is why SAVE is so great, is we are focusing on those sustainability issues, but on the energy savings also. So if you're in a building and you have 500 shades, if I'm in a big office building and I have 500 shades, that 44 kilohertz we were talking about, that was an
Mhm.
average residential project. You're talking about serious megajoules of waste going on with all of these shades. So if you can reduce that or cut that down to nothing, that's a huge impact, going forth. And that's part of their mission. We are proud to be, of course, they're a volunteer organization, and we're proud to be working with them.
That's awesome. So, for the CIs and end users who are watching today, what is the one thing you want them to walk away knowing about modern atomics and your approach to AV power management?
One thing is kind of a difficult one. I mean, there's many reasons why you'd want to use the reactor in projects. It helps lower product costs, saves space, cuts down on install and programming time using the automated programming functions, and it reduces power consumption using the eco mode functions. I mean, it's difficult to say one.
Yeah.
There are, yeah, several reasons why you'd want to use it.
Yeah. No, but I think that that boils it down beautifully. Like, if you want your customer to save money, energy, like why wouldn't you want to save both of those things if you had the opportunity to just by switching? So I really
Absolutely.
appreciate y'all and your time. So the last thing I'm going to ask you guys is where can people reach either of you and where can people find more information about modern atomics if they're interested in learning more about the reactor or the collider?
Absolutely. First of all, we want to thank everybody who has voted on the awards for these, including the fine folks on this call. We didn't expect your guys' award for this, so we really do appreciate that. And we're here to earn people's business. So modernatomics.com is the best place to catch us at. And we do have LinkedIn and Facebook and X pages. But if you go to modernatomics.com, all of our socials are at the bottom. We're very interested to work with you and hear about your projects that you're working.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michael and Tim. I appreciate your time. Thank you for being part of Launch Week 10. And I know that our audience and all the people watching were very, very excited to learn about both of those products. So appreciate you.